Welcome to Big Boy Crypto, the People's Channel, home of the BitSquad, the largest and greatest crypto community in all of the interwebs. No channels working harder to keep you in the know when it comes to crypto. My name is DZ BTC. You catch me at NFT Alpha Show as well, and we come to you Monday through Friday, 5:02 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We talk about your favorite topics, and today, because the market's just been so crazy, we made sure we had the best panel we've ever had in the history of the show. We're going to go ahead and start on that top right. He's very, very used to ups and downs, but that was on the motocross bike. But he's also getting used to it in the market. I'm talking about Johnny Crypto. Check out his past life as a bike guy. It was pretty good stuff. Then on the bottom right, he got inspired by Michael Jackson. His favorite song is Black or White. I'm talking about Steve McGarry. Then on the bottom left, don't let his casual attire fool you. He's never on vacation. He always stays trading. I'm talking about Crypto Lifer 33. Then on the top left, he said he might grow a mustache to look more like Tom Selleck. And that's because they keep calling him Mr. Baseball. I'm talking about Ben Armstrong. Good job last night. What is the record? Everyone likes keeping up on the Thursdays. What is going on with the softball team?
We're 5-2. I think maybe I said we were 5-2 the other day, but we were actually 4-2. Last night was our 5th win. We got one more regular season game and then tournament. So we're right now in we're 5th place out of 13. But, you know, one game, we would be in 2nd place if we just wouldn't have lost to the 2nd place team. We lost to them by 1 run in the last inning last week because of a bad call by the umpire.
The umpires do like to do that. But we're going to be talking about the Bitcoin. Is this the kiss of death? 1 billion in Tether being moved around, and it looks like it's bad news for Tron holders. Also, ApeCoin making some serious moves. But before we do that, let's look at the market. It's quite the day. We got to definitely check out what is going on. And the volatility, not super crazy on Bitcoin. We are down 1.5%. We look at Ethereum, though, down 8%. Some of the other main alts down 7%. Cardano down 8%. Solana. So we're seeing some big movement on some of these blue chips. But Crypto Lifer, we're seeing all types of volatile movement with Bitcoin today. We went down to 24,000, went back up to 29,000. Is there another max pain level to hit in the near future here? I mean, is it still just a lot of volume, a lot of volatility, and just hard to predict?
There's, I've been looking at the charts closely. Obviously, it's been crazy. I can't even say, even I'm surprised by the fast speed of the drop. However, we all knew, and even if you watch the most basic technical analyst on YouTube, everyone was watching 30K. And even these levels here that we were like, if we break these levels, we're going to go lower. And if we broke this beautiful support region that we had beautifully built here at about 36,000, that we were going to sweep the 30K lows. If we broke this 30K lows, there was going to be a capitulation wick of some sort. Ben even brought up, I remember the other day when we were talking on the daily channel about the 0.65 fib. We did hit it. That's why I have the fib drawn here on the 3-day chart. We bounced right to it, to this like 25,000, like 5.7. I mean, the fib was really on like 26,400 area. We would wick. Is that the capitulation wick? Are we done?
Got it.
I mean, we're extremely low on the daily and the bigger charts. So there's a chance, I'm watching smaller time frames. We did short early. We longed up and then began a short later on in the afternoon. But right now I'm looking at 26,800. We break that. I'm looking at 25. There's not a lot of levels to watch. I mean, you can clearly see even on this chart, like the next notch in the belt there is 19,020K. So to me, for us to hit it is probably probable. I just go by the support and resistance. It says that we're probably going to go lower. I wouldn't be surprised if we did. I would brace yourselves for more, possibly into the teens. I'm not guaranteeing it, but I'm definitely keeping some dry powder for that area for sure. Sad to say,
Okay.
A little bit of hopium. Could the 3-day bounce? Could the 3-day bounce on this 0.65 fib is your hopium here? We are extremely oversold on our 3-day chart, and we are at the bottom of this falling wedge. The falling wedge could break back up. That's
okay, yeah, definitely oversold, and there's a lot of market capitulation at the moment. It's the 2nd worst day for sell-offs in crypto. Of course, the May crash, the May crash exceeded that, and it's the 2nd highest day of
You should
Bitcoin.
Be buying today. You should be buying.
Traditionally, this is a good day to buy when there's events like this. The 2nd largest day for Bitcoin being sold at a loss out of all time. Again, that was the May crash that had the highest amount. Wow. It looks like the highest liquidation notice on ETH ever. A trader got liquidated for $17.7 million. Oof. So we're seeing huge dumps. Now, Ben, I was talking to TJ this morning, and we had all talked about, hey, there's certain levels we want to enter in on the market when we hit certain levels, but we drop so quickly. Personally, I'm kind of changing my strategy. Was there anything about the speed in which we went down that maybe changes your strategy on, when is a perhaps a good entry point to start accumulating at the beginning of a bear market?
Well, this is not, beginning. Actually, the funny thing is once you get to the lowest part, that's the end.
Yeah.
So when you're in the depths,
true.
that's actually the end of the bear market. So look, you always have to, we talk about this a lot on the channel. You always have to weigh your risk versus reward. Okay. So I think the risk versus reward ratio of scaling in right now is good. I think that the risk of the price not going any lower and bouncing back up, I think that risk is higher, is lower than the reward of being able to, get in at these prices, even if it does go down a little bit more. I think that from where we're at right now, we were looking at ranges between 24,500 and 27,500 being the bottom, and we hit it in a day, right? So we've had to readjust on where we think it's going. Worst case scenario, in my opinion, it goes down to $10,300, but I just can't. That's an 85% drawdown from the top. 85% drawdown, average bear market drawdown. We are exactly to the day on schedule for an 85% drop, according to the last, historical bear cycles. So now we were way ahead of it until yesterday. And so now that until a couple days ago, now that we have, this has moved very quickly. I think that, the levels to look at here scaling in at are scaling in now, scaling in around $25,000, scaling in around $22,000, and then anything below that, I mean, that's free money. You have to think about it like this. If you're scaling in right now, like where Bitcoin's at, let's just say 30K, I don't know what it's at now, 28, who knows. But wherever it is right now, let's just say it's approximately $30,000. Well, if you buy right now and the price goes back up to $100,000 at some point in the next cycle, which I think is very reasonable. It's not even a 2x from the last cycle. Then you made $70,000, right? If the price goes lower and you keep $10,000 aside, let's say it does go to 10,000, and look, you keep 10,000 and you put it in 10,000. If it hits that, now it goes to 100K, you made $90,000. So the lower the price goes, the more high the return is. So you can be riskier. You can set aside a smaller allotment for the lowest possible price points because it's got the highest return on it, if that makes sense. So right now where you're at, you should not be you should be allocating, in my opinion, decent amounts of what you've had set on the sideline at these price points, but keep smaller allotments. If the price goes down, you just infuse that into your portfolio.
Okay. Now, Ben was talking about risk reward, Johnny. There's a lot of risky behavior happening in the markets. Not only was that $17 million liquidated, I think it was $1.2 billion total in liquidation over the past couple of days. How are you treating the market when it comes to a risk reward ratio? I mean, do you have a number where you start scaling in? Is there a number where you maybe hit the gas on scaling in? What's the Johnny crypto, strategy?
First off, did anyone tell their worst enemy to buy Luna? Maybe Ben the Emperor for your football or baseball game? Sorry, that's a bad joke. I really feel really bad for everyone that got stuck holding the bags on that deal, and I hope it does reverse. But to answer your question, DZ, truthfully, you can never predict how low something is going to go, just like none of us could predict the all-time highs of this last cycle. So for me, I knew that everything tends to repeat itself, tries to touch itself, and right around 35,000 was when I started scaling into Bitcoin. And then I actually then bought a full Bitcoin at 30,000. And then after things started going lower after 30,000, I put probably 10 grand into alts that I just wanted a dollar cost average in. And Ben is absolutely right that you should have powder on hand. I just have been holding off for 6 months since January. Since we went under the 200-day moving average, I'm like, hey, we're getting into a bear market. I'm going to sell some of my stocks and I've got cash on hand. So I was waiting for some sort of an entry signal. And my investment strategy has been to accumulate and almost never sell. I mean, there's the thing called the Lindy effect, where things have been around for a long time, then you can say that they're probably going to be around for a lot longer. And Bitcoin for me is one of those things. Ethereum is one. Something like ApeCoin, where it's only been around for a few months, it's hard to speculate that it's going to be around for the next 10, 15 years. So for something like that, that's more of a speculative asset for me. But I do have some certain price points. Right around 25,000 is when I'll probably start getting back in. And truthfully, I'm just going to be completely honest with everybody. Like, I've been not arguing, but I've been talking with some of my accountants with some of my investments, and I'm talking about taking out a substantial loan at 2% on some of my stocks. So it would be a low premium that I pay every month, but I'll probably deploy that if Bitcoin does get down to around 10,000, because that's a risk versus reward for me. Borrowing money at 2%, I'm not saying everyone should do it. I'm really saying that it's incredibly risky. I just have a lot of conviction, and I have things set aside to where that would make sense for my risk versus reward. I've got a bunch of crypto on hand that I'm going to hold for a while in my HODL wallet. However, if things, worst case scenario, get down to that 10,000, there's only certain opportunities that hit you to where it makes sense. And for me, boom, that's when I would probably deploy something like that. So that is my worst case. And I don't know if I answered the question, but I sure enough digressed quite a bit. So I'm going to leave the floor and give it back to you, DZ.
No, I appreciate it, man. Now, Steve, you've been in this market for a long time. You kind of know how some of these things operate behind closed doors. You're a builder. You build. What do you think is the main catalyst for Bitcoin's price fall? Is it our DXY? Is it the overall market sentiment with, tech stocks being dragged down? Is it the UST losing its peg? What would you say is the number one catalyst driving this market down?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think that a lot of people that I know that have been in the space for a long time measure things by the halving, and we're actually closer to the next halving than we are distance from the previous. So if you guys don't know what the halving is, every 4 years, the miners get half the amount of rewards in Bitcoin for supporting the network. So 2024, around March, I believe, is when the next halving comes. And in my opinion, I'm not a trader. I majored in economics, so I'm fascinated by the whole concept of the halving and making it harder to acquire Bitcoin. But the Luna UST concept was beautiful. Like, everybody in the crypto space got vacuumed into it, because having a stable coin that was backed, like, an algorithmically backed stable coin that had Bitcoin in reserves, was just a beautiful concept. Like, everybody that was researching it and everybody that sent it to me when they started, agreeing to buy those huge slugs of Bitcoin, it was just a crypto fanboy dream to be able to see that kind of thing transpire. But I do think that triggered quite a lot based on, the amount of people that got involved. And I have been watching closely Michael Saylor. Is it 21,000? Does anyone know what his margin call is? I think it's 21,000.
He tweeted out he could go as low as 33,000. Other people are saying 21, but Michael Saylor himself is saying it can go as low as 3,000, and even then we have a plan B.
Okay,
that's just what he says.
Yeah, watching that closely, because I think he is levered up to the level that is quite beyond most human beings. So I think it's quite interesting, his risk and his conviction. So I like to follow what he says when it comes to things like that. But long term, follow the halvings, ladies and gentlemen that are watching. Follow what's going to happen. And like Ben mentioned, the bottom, I think, is something that everybody should be prepared for. Get stocks ready. I like what you said, Johnny, a little bit risky on taking out loans to buy, but just have dry powder ready for something over the next coming months and years, just because the halving's what matter.
Yeah, that was a good answer. Actually, it was a quick, a trick question. I believe it's the halving as well. I purposely didn't say it, and you would agree. All right, let's talk a little USDT. No, not UST. There's stablecoin drama going all over the blockchain right now. We just had one. I just want to make sure this is correct. $1 billion of Tether is being pulled off of the Tron network and then being injected into the Ethereum network. This came out. There's been a lot of action with Tether. Some exchanges are reporting Tether fell as low as 94 cents. It was hanging around 99 point something for a long time today. I confirm myself. I saw USDC flash up to $1.05 on CoinGecko. Looked a little funny. I went on TradingView. I found it was hitting 102, 103 for sure. So seeing all types of fluctuations. We're seeing a lot of people. It seems like they're moving from Tether to USDC. Everybody's using getting out of UST. Those that could maybe getting out at 70 cents, 80 cents. They're finding new stable coins to swap into. Now, Crypto Lifer, as a trader, what is your strategy with stables? I know Tether is used as a trading pair for a whole lot of exchanges on a whole lot of leverage trading sites. Does that, when you see this fluctuation of, possibly 94 cents, 95 cents, 98 cents, does that worry you at all? I mean, is there another option for people who just won't touch Tether with a 10-foot pole?
I always try to bring in like some life experiences, but when I was a kid, I got robbed. My house got robbed. My apartment also got robbed. So I've been robbed before. And, when you've been robbed before, you always kind of have a contingency plan. So you give me 30 grand. I got 10 grand in BUSD. I got 10 grand in USDC, and I got 10 grand in USD Tether. I move it around. I'm always kind of weary of how much I have of one stablecoin. I am probably overexposed in Tether for sure. But luckily, I didn't touch UST, thank God. And I'm not saying, I wish, I would have said it out loud if I did, and I would have been like, I got banged out. I did not, thank God. Somehow I missed out on getting Luna and UST. But yeah, I just spread it out. To make it short and simple, everyone, spread it out. Try not to be in all one stable coin at one time. I try to make sure like I'm in different exchanges, and in different exchanges, I'm in different stable coins. Also, Patch G. Every once in a while, stable up to gold here and there. It's not the worst thing in the world. Yeah.
Hey, I've never been a fan of DAI, but you know what? Hey, it's starting to look a little more attractive to me. Now,
Ben, Major DAO's been strong throughout this.
We're seeing a full court press by the different government officials. Secretary Yellen was, very quick to come out speaking about stablecoins 2 days ago. Congressman Stephen Lynch coming out. Congressman Jim Himes coming out. And, of course, Gary Gensler tweeted something right before we went live, less than about a half hour ago, 45 minutes ago. We're seeing this full court press. Does this seem coordinated maybe by some campaign donors or some of the higher ups when it comes to, funding both sides of, the political spectrum here? Or is this just, they're looking out for us and it's the hot button topic, so they just want to talk about it naturally and organically?
Yeah, they're looking out for us. Here is my tweet. Someone please stop this low IQ lizard person from tweeting. Like, what an idiot. This guy, Dirty Gary Gensler, one of the most corrupt people in our entire government, along with Janet Yellen. There's a reason we constantly attack these two people. It's because they are scumbags, and they pretend to have everybody's best interest at heart, when in reality, all they are doing is working backdoor deals. That is all these people do. We know this from looking at William Henman. That's all he was doing, was working backdoor deals. These people are absolute criminals. And my dream would be for Gary Gensler and Janet Yellen themselves to be held accountable by the SEC. That would be unbelievable if we could see that happen one day. But of course, we know it's a part of the government monster that we have here that is nothing but bureaucracy and bribes and handshake deals and winks and nods. And we know that. The Janet Yellen coming out talking about stablecoin regulation, the government orchestrated Terra Luna's demise. Like, let's be very clear about that. It's extremely obvious. Do you guys think it's a coincidence that Monday we get the word that there's going to be stablecoin regulation, a new bill, a new act was introduced, and then literally within 24 hours, the #1 algorithmic stablecoin gets completely crashed? Like, do we think it's coincidence? We've got all kinds of evidence showing, whether it was BlackRock, Citadel, Gemini, which I think it was, Like, we got all kinds of evidence showing what actually happened, how this was orchestrated. Do we think this was random? We're the person that crashed it, or the entity that crashed it, made, I think they said $800 million by crashing it, something insane like that, right? So not only do they crash it, not only do they get to attack it, but they make money doing it. That's the system we have to break up. And Gary Gensler and Janet Yellen are the two people at the center of that. Jerome Powell right there as well. He got confirmed for a second term. He's why we're in this situation. He's why we have this insane inflation right now. The fact this guy could lie, could look you in the eyes and say inflation is transitory 6 months ago. Why are these people not held accountable? It is time that the people in this country rise up and oust these criminals from their positions. That's what needs to happen. We don't need stablecoin regulation. We need regulator regulation in the United States.
Yeah, it's almost like a kleptocrack. It's a hard word to say. You know, a lot of people can't say that word, but it's almost like a kleptocracy here. Oh. Hey, we talked about corn pop yesterday. All right, now, Hopper, are we eventually going to have just fully backed stable coins, just fully audited stable coins? Is that eventually a future that you see going, which obviously be bad news for Tether, which, you know, they remain secretive about their process to, you know, trust. They want to keep it secret for proprietary reasons. What is the future going to look like for stablecoin regulation? I mean, is there going to be just quarterly audits like a NASDAQ traded company?
Well, first off, DZ, I did like your Biden joke there.
What are you talking about? Sorry, it's a hard word to say.
No, so this is basically proving that crypto is not immune to what the government has done for eons, right? And like Sun Tzu with The Art of War, he says to defeat an enemy, you got to do it from within. And what is going on is just like what Ben Armstrong was saying, is this was planned. It was entirely planned. And if you look at like the difference between us and, I guess, the Homo sapien from like 200,000 years ago, is we're able to collectively get in big groups. It's because of an ideology. We're able to kind of create a cult, like a political power, in order to enforce governors and laws. And they're afraid of what crypto is doing. I know it's a silly way of looking at it, but they're wanting to form a United States blockchain stablecoin. They don't want anything else to be in power. Therefore, they're trying to smear the name so that everybody runs away. They come in, they buy up everything, and then the who holds the power makes the rules, just like how they've done in society, is they've got all the power with the banks. We know the banks are corrupt, Big Pharma, you know, Wells Fargo, everybody. There's multiple times when they've gotten away with stuff and they get sued and they still get away with it. This time is no difference. When it comes to stable coins, I don't have an entire good answer for you for cryptocurrency, because we know like Luna was supposed to, it had its name DeFi, decentralized, all over it, but yet a central entity took it out. So I would say that in the midst of chaos, there's opportunity, but I'm not really betting too big on stable coins. To be honest, I still believe in the United States dollar more than I do a stable coin. Like if I've got cash on hand, I'm leaving it in the bank. I know I'm losing money, but I will transfer it to an exchange and buy crypto with USD. I'm not going to get in a stable coin. And maybe that's just the lack of intelligence when it comes to this community, because I'm very happy that I'm able to be in a bigger group with you guys, because if you're the smartest guy in a room, you should find a bigger room, and this is that room for me. So I don't really know the answer to that, and I will be quiet because I'm just hearing myself talk at this point.
No, you're good. I'm glad you brought up. I'm glad you brought up opportunity, because I want to say to chat, you have the opportunity right now to hit that like button, and let's spread this video out to all types of people. We got to grow the Bit Squad. More and more people really need to know what is happening in the background, and we like to expose a light on these people. Now, Steve, final question on this topic. A lot of people did lose money with UST. We're not trying to make light of that situation. A lot of people got wrecked, and they got wrecked hard. Would stablecoin regulation ultimately be a good thing, in your opinion?
It's a tough question because they're just at the core of it, having something that is based on a blockchain that's open to everyone, I think is powerful and transparent and it's a beautiful thing. I don't think that that aligns with control for a lot of these government entities. So it's a little bit of a catch-22 situation where in order to regulate it, they'd have to have all sorts of chain analysis style groups going out there and digging deep as to who's sending who to what. And I do think that with this huge loss, I think you said, DZ, it was what, 1.3 billion that had been lost in? Was that what
Yeah,
you
that was
said
just
for
yeah,
US?
yeah, roughly around there. Yeah, I think 200,000 people in the red.
So I do agree that, you know, people did get wrecked and people need to not overextend themselves in investing in general. As a non-trader myself, you know, I dollar cost average all the time just because I don't want to read signals and I'm not good at it. And I like to just kind of be. But for everybody out there that did lose money, you know, it is a learning experience where you can go and research the projects, see who's building things, invest in their long-term visions. And this one was a bit of a curveball. I think not many people could see it coming. And regulators are going to come in with like blunt force, because I think I saw an episode with you recently, Ben, where you guys went to California, right? And you guys talked to regulators there, and you were surprised with how well they understood it, right? When you guys went out to
Yeah.
California.
Absolutely. The people that are making laws out there, like, I'll tell you, they're more educated on blockchain itself than they are about the individual cryptocurrencies, for good reason, because when you're looking at government integration with blockchain, it makes more sense, since, you know, when it comes to investing, that's the SEC's job or the CFTC's job. So yeah, they know a lot more than I thought they knew. I was really surprised. I've also been in front of some that it's the other way, but I was very impressed when I went to California.
Yeah.
And that's good to hear. That makes me happy, hearing that at least someone's out there learning that these people are educating themselves. So those regulators, I'd love to hear more from them, hear people learning about it, and educating themselves before they come in with a heavy fist.
Yeah. So yeah, we've had Ben talk to the two most populated states, California, Texas. I believe the third most populated state is Florida. So Santos, hey, invite Ben out there. I think it'd be a good little meeting. All right, real quick, we're gonna wrap this up real quick. We're gonna talk about ApeCoin. Lifer, I'm probably gonna ask you about the chart because we are up 30% on ApeCoin. We wanted to end with a little bit of hopium, a little bit of good news in the markets. It had crashed around, I want to say 70, 80%. It was $27.50 at one time, fell all the way down to $5. We're up 30.7% right now, $6.88 on the way up. Now, Lifer, how is it looking from a chart? I believe it was, I think Steve was saying it is a short lifespan. Maybe it was a short lifespan for this coin. So we don't have the longest history to go off of. You know, I mean, shoot, we have to use the 30-second chart if we want to zoom out here. How is it looking for a trade?
I've kind of become, I don't like using the word expert at anything, because especially when it comes to trading, but I've become somewhat efficient at trading something even when it's only like a couple hours old. And you watch my live stream, you'll see us watch a coin, we'll slap it into some type, 30-second chart, 10-second chart, doesn't matter. The idea here was, look, you lost key support at 10.75. You came back down here to $9.41, lost that. You got a little excited by this bounce that you had, and I get it. You're happy, it came back up. However, look, you're in a falling wedge. You're battling with this area. You have this previous bounce that you took, so that's your next resistance, and you're at it right now. You're about to roll over on the 4-hour. When Bitcoin rolls over, which I think it will, this is going to roll over with it. You know what I'm saying? So, again, I mean, this is at the whims of Bitcoin. Bitcoin dumps. This is going to continue to dump. Bitcoin pumps back up and gives a level to give you some like a breathing room. Then this will kind of build its way back up. I'd watch this 4-hour right now. It's headed to the downside. This is also what's called a rising wedge. And what we'll do is we'll go into a smaller time frame just to like kind of give you more detail of this. But you can see this is a rising wedge. Rising wedges break down 6 to 8% of the time. So what you have to hope is that this 15-minute gives you enough gas to push you past 938. If you can get back above there, fine. Then maybe you can have some fun. But if you're not, look for the 4-hour to take over and for this to probably roll over and make a lower low down there. It could even come all the way down and test this low here at 91 cents. I mean, it can always go lower, everybody. Repeat
All
after
right,
me.
that the audience
You know.
loved that analysis. You're getting some subs, and if you like the guests that we do have, again, make sure you hit the like button and make sure you're checking out.
No, and thank you guys
everyone's
so much for
channel.
having me on today. I didn't get to say thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
You
anytime.
guys rock.
We love
the
having you
BitSquad.
on. All right, final
You guys are
question
awesome.
here, Ben. Ape is getting a little bit of excitement. I was looking at the game trailer this morning. It actually does look really, really good. It's up there with Fortnite level, graphics. Looks fun, looks bright, looks flashy. Is there going to be any kind of hype for Ape, over the next 6 months or the year? Or is the overall market conditions just going to eradicate all the hype that they're trying to build?
That's a great question. DZ, thanks for having me on my own show. Appreciate that. Just want to say that as well. Crypto Lifers said thank you. I want to say thank you, DZ, for having me on.
Hey, thanks. You're the two-time champ. Thanks for letting me host.
That is true. That is true. No, we love when people are appreciated for being on the show. It's really important. But the thing is, I'm trying to stall because I'm trying to think of a good answer to this question, because this is a hard question, right? Because if you would have asked me this 3 weeks ago, I would have said yes. I think the ApeCoin, the whole ecosystem could be enough to keep it relevant. But look what happened to the land after the land sale. It cratered. People literally wasted 2 ETH on gas fees to buy an asset that's worth less today than it was when they bought it. So, maybe we're underestimating the downpull of the market on Metaverse. And I would tell you this, Metaverse, I was on Meta Money this morning. We filmed a show for Saturday on my show or on the channel, and the interest level in Metaverse is dead. It is way more flatlined than anything else in crypto. And when you look at this ApeCoin game, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen this trailer, but I would assume it looks pretty good with graphics. If it looks kind of like Fortnite, like how long is it going to be until that's playable? Sandbox has been around now, being built on for 2 years, and they just now have some tiny little sections that are playable. How long is this going to take? I would definitely place my bets on this game will not be out until we are already going back in bullish territory. So for me, and that means within the next 2 years. And for me, that means I think, even though this is my opinion's changed in the last 3 weeks on this, I would say I think the market is going to probably keep a lot of excitement outside of the people already in the community from really spilling over to create a more bullish price for Ape.
Okay. All right. Well, that is all we got time for today. We ran a little bit long, but on days like this, we got to keep it going, especially when the BitSquad's in the chat showing some love. So, Ben, you know what? It was when you're so appreciative on being on your own show. I had to give you a couple extra points. I had to give you some points there. So, Ben, feel free, lead us with some parting thoughts while the markets just lose their mind.
Yeah, well, it is bloody. And you know what? I want to tell, let me read, can I read a text? I got a text from my buddy today, and he sent me, this is from my friend Brian, who I got him into crypto kind of, in the near middle stage of the bull run. And he said, I remember a conversation we had a while back, and everything was down like 10% that day. I asked if that was the beginning of the bear market, and you smirked and then said, I wish, but no. When crypto crashes, it crashes like nothing you've ever seen. That's what I told him. And you look at what we've seen this week, and that's what we've seen. Guys, crypto is volatile, but there is a beautiful line of predictability that goes into these markets. And just as sure as I sit here and Bitcoin drops and the market's crashing, just as sure I can sit here and tell you they will come back and they will be at all-time. Not every coin, but most of these top coins will be back at all-time highs. But it's going to take a lot of time. But you got to remember, that's where the opportunity is.
That's where the opportunity is. This is when millionaires will be made, during this red background, lack of excitement. But that is all we got time for. We will be back tomorrow. And until next time, BitSquad, easy out.